But at the same time, when people are asking for the agency stuff, a lot of people are also asking, well, can you just show me how to do it?
Yeah.
Like some people want to get hands-on. And so I did a little bit of teaching, but then I was pretty like turned off for it because I was so focused.
Yeah.
And within the last 2 years, two things happened. Number one, a few years ago, Facebook flew me to their headquarters. And I got to sit there and see it, experience and see what like one man's vision created. That inspired me to want to do more.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Business Owner Elevation Podcast. And I'm super duper excited. I have a serious A player in the house right now, guys. We have the pleasure of Mr. Billy Jean in the house. How you doing?
First of all, I want to thank you. I like that, being referred to as an A player. I'm gonna start using that, like A player. Okay, that makes me feel good.
So guys, just before we get into the interview, Elevation Nation, I just want to make you aware, the guy that we have or we're about to interview right now, he's a real mover and shaker. He takes action. He's doing some really cool things. And I thought, you know, why not get him on the show and show you guys what it's like to actually take massive action. And, you know, I've been watching him from afar and he's aware of this. You know, we're friends on Facebook. I'm fleeting around the kind of edges right now, but this guy's doing some real cool things that over here in the UK, we're taking notice of, especially all of the top marketers. And, you know, it's an inspiration. So I just want to say, welcome to the show, Billy Jean.
Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just want to get straight into it. So give me a kind of just a whistle stop tour, 5 minutes or so, just to tell our listeners, Elevation Nation, who you are and, you know, what you're known for.
So I'm known for turning clicks into customers. At the end of the day, customer acquisition. Like, I hate when people like refer to me as like social media or the Facebook guy or shit like that. Like, dude, when people hire us, when they need customers, period. You need customers, you call us. And you call us for two reasons. Because number one, you want us to do it for you. Or number two, you just want us to teach you how to do it. And that's the whole business.
Awesome. Awesome. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure I'm going to get a few things not accurate, 100% accurate. Sure. But the rise to where you are right now has been pretty recent. Is that right? In terms of, you know, the growth that you're at? Yeah,
man. I mean, I guess I've been doing the entrepreneur thing for like 7, 8, 9 years. I had an oil change company, etc.
Yeah.
So like the overnight success thing is never true, right? But in regards to the digital side, I've probably been doing this for about 5 years.
Okay.
But for a long time, I was just focused on my agency. And so we weren't doing a lot of teaching. So like whenever, you know, you got all these motherfuckers, there's so many people who are teaching you how to run an agency, etc. They don't know how to do it. They've never done it before. Like I'm the guy who's actually been doing it. And that's why we teach it now, to show you kind of the best practices of what's been working and what hasn't, etc.
Awesome. So you said you went back about 9 years, and then more recently, the past 5 years, you've been in the agency. Now, I mean, for me, it's kind of, it's an interesting dynamic because I've been running an agency as well, in and out. So I had previous one, didn't quite work out. And then I, you know, rose again like the phoenix out of the ashes. And one of the things that I found until I transitioned, it was about 3 years ago that I really started to take notice of actually people wanting to find out more about me, not just, you know, the delivery.
Yeah.
What was the transition for you, or how did it happen in terms of, you know, being in an agency? Because I know what it's like with me when I think back. It was like I had the blinkers on, you know, we're going to help people deliver services. And I wasn't, like you said earlier, I wasn't really thinking like go teach. And now and again, people would say to me, Leon, can you come and speak at our event? And it was just like one-offs, but I'd never really looked into it. But what was the kind of trigger point, or the, you know, that pivot point for you to move into what, you know, what I'm seeing you do now?
As far as the education, so like going from agent, dude, you know what's funny is I didn't have like a formal background of like education. I never started off and said, hey, I wanted to start an agency. It was more like I knew how to do Facebook, and companies would say, I'll give you money to do this. And I was living at my mom's house, and so I became an agency by default. And then I realized I couldn't just do it by myself, and so then I started hiring other people to help me fulfill. And then as we've moved on, people started calling us an agency. So it was like, I guess fuck it, like we're an agency. And that's kind of how it all molded together. But at the same time, when people are asking for the agency stuff, a lot of people are also asking, well, can you just show me how to do it? Like some people want to get hands-on. And so I did a little bit of teaching, but then I was pretty like turned off for it because I was so focused. And within the last 2 years, two things happened. Number one, a few years ago, Facebook flew me to their headquarters. And I got to sit there and and see it, experience and see what like one man's vision created, that inspired me to want to do more. And honestly, man, I got back into coaching a little bit, and I just forgot what it was like to connect like one-to-one. It kind of got me excited again. Like when you're agency, like you don't see people anymore. So I got kind of like in this mindset where I was just fucking working. Like I wasn't like passionate about it though. Like I didn't get to like, there was no fulfillment. You know what I mean? Like I was just working. I was just working. And so then when we got in the education space again, it was just like all cylinders on, and I'm excited again. I'm passionate again, and I love it.
No, that's cool to hear. And it's like you say, it's with the agency kind of element, and I'm speaking from experience as well to everybody listening, is that you do get focused on the kind of service delivery. But then when you get into kind of like the teaching, the coaching, the mentoring, there is a totally different dynamic. And I mean, recently what's quite interesting, because what I did, I pushed my agency to the kind of back seat, and I started to get rid and sack clients, and like, you know, I'm just not in that anymore. And then what happened was an older client came back to me after about a year, actually. They said, Leon, are you still doing some kind of marketing? I said, yeah. And they said, can we just talk? And I thought, okay, this is interesting. So anyway, we have this conversation, and then before I know it, I'm talking myself, instead of delivering services for like £10,000, that's about like $12,500 per year for this client. We're now talking like a 6-figure deal.
There you go.
Yeah. And for me, that was just like, it was just one of those kind of light bulb moments, just like, huh?
Give you high fives through the computer screen. Great job.
Yeah. High fives. And for me, it was just kind of like, how did that happen? And I know how it happened. It was kind of like the mental awareness of what they were asking for and what I was asking for. And together, you know, we brokered the deal. But the point I want to get to kind of, Billy, is that you got flown out to Facebook. Why is that?
That was a bit of luck, and it was just from being an active advertiser on their site. So for that, I was doing so much advertising on Facebook. And then it's actually a funny story. Through one of my clients, they knew someone who was really high up at Facebook, and they said, hey, if I can get you a lunch with this guy, like, would that be something that you'd be interested in? And I'm like, fucking, are you kidding? Yes. And so we're all out to lunch, and he was a big fan of my client. And I was crushing it for that client. And so we all just started going there and hanging out, et cetera. And then all of a sudden, one day, I just get an email that just says like, hey, would you like to participate or, you know, come up for the day for this thing? It was me and 11 other advertisers. And it was us, and we got to talk to the entire policy team. And so the people who approve and disapprove ads. So we walk in there, and it's just like a bunch of millennials who don't give a shit. And that's
the ones who shut your account down.
Dude, it is. It's so funny because, like, think about it. When you get an ad account shut down, it's like the worst feeling in the world. And like now, having been up there, I know it's just some kid like wearing glasses who's like drinking kombucha. It's just like, whatever. Yeah, this is spammy. Gotta go.
Awesome. So tell me kind of where you've moved to at this point, because you know, for everybody who doesn't know you, especially in the UK, we have listeners around the world, but more so the UK, everybody, you know, watching or listening on the podcast right now. I'm seeing some big things, and I don't want to reveal it. I want you to kind of tell my audience the kind of things you're up to, because this stuff, the kind of stuff that I then show the A players here in the UK, like, have you seen this guy from America? He's doing some like, real crazy shit. And like, and I'm showing them like, wow. So
I'll give you guys kind of like a fast forward of where we're at as a company. And so now we have somewhere between 2,000 to 2,500 members in our membership site, which is basically paying between $100 to $200 a month. In addition to that, we have somewhere between 500 to 600 people who take our higher level coaching about starting their own agency. They pay between $5,000 to $10,000 for the year. And so between that and then some different partnerships deals on the agency side, that's kind of the business house we are. And so for me, and my passion being education and completely changing the system, right now, what we're in works of is actually building a campus. And so, like I just thought about it. I was like, dude, you can go to any school in the world, and they will not teach you what you need to, like, you can't sign up for Facebook advertising class. And by the time you do sign up for it, everything has probably changed. It's just, they have a system and an infrastructure that cannot possibly keep up with what's happening right now. So we're looking to fill that gap. So like, I'm not looking to do like a ton of campuses everywhere, but what I've noticed is having an online community is that there's power in proximity. So giving our students a place where you can actually come, meet together, learn together, build together, I thought that was huge. And so like, as we go forward over the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a whole bunch of genius campuses pop up all around the country, the US, and maybe we'll come over.
That's Big Tens, Billy. That's Big Tens right there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a huge goal. Like, I mean, I'm thinking about it in terms of the lives that you'll change and the difference that you're gonna make. I mean, that's
Cool, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm gonna just push it out there. I saw recently you spent the day with Gary Vee. Is that right?
Yeah, I did.
So, how did that day influence you?
It was similar to the moment of like when we went to Facebook's campus, you know, and when like seeing that. So you take our team, and we're in our office right now. I don't know if you can see the background, but let's say I got a team of about 25. His team's about 700.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, and I say, holy shit, when I was a solopreneur, how much I didn't know that would be to 25 team. And all I could think about when I see that is, holy cow, if I want to scale something to like 700 employees, I got a lot to go. I got a lot more to do. Like there's levels, right? Like, so you see Gary on the outside, and he's super, he's very like high strung, high energy, and he's like always out there. You would think his business would not be that organized and structured. But when we got there, dude, they have process for days. Everyone knows what they're focused on. The energy feels good. They're inspired. They're committed. Like it's a really well-oiled machine. And so for me, it was jealousy was the number one feeling. In a good way, though, like some people gotta embrace jealousy sometimes. It was like one of those things where it's like, I respect it, I admire it, I love what you're doing, but I'm also gonna beat your ass. Like I see what you're doing, and I want to dominate that space, you know? So it felt really good, man. But it was a humbling experience at the same time.
It was great to see. Obviously, you share some of that. I mean, for me, the reason why I knew, you know what? Sometimes I think it's fake because I don't always watch his stuff. Like, you know, when you have that kind of filter. Don't get me wrong. I'm fully aware of this guy. I've been to events when he's been here in the UK. Grabbed him for a minute. You know, had a chat with him and so on. But then it was just like that morning, his daily V must have popped up, and I saw your face. Kind of, it was like boom, and I tagged you as well in the message in the video as well. And I thought, sick. And that's how I knew. Obviously, you were there. But it was really cool, actually. Now, the question I want to ask you is, like, even getting to where you are right now, 25 employees. I mean, that's huge for a lot of people. You mentioned solopreneur, and for anybody who just doesn't know the term, you know, just working on your own, trying to make it happen. Now, to go from that to the 25 that you have now, what was that kind of period of time?
Oh, man, that was probably about 3 years. Three and a half years.
And this is what I meant earlier when I said you've done it in a pretty quick time. And this is the point I was trying to get to. Now, how do you go from solopreneur to 3 years to where you are right now? Like, what were the three steps even? Let's go a year at a time.
Yeah, I like that. Good question. I'm glad you're asking this. Dude, number one is an insane focus on sales.
Good.
It's amazing how many solopreneurs I find with no time to sell. I'm like, bro, that's the only thing you're supposed to do. Like that's your only job. What are you talking about? So the biggest thing is at all times, like I'm a salesman by nature, but like I just never let go. Like as soon as we hit one goal, I'm like, okay, great. And I remember in my brain, like the progressions, man, I know what it was like to get one client paying me $500 a month. And that was it. And that was my entire income. I was at my mom's house. I know that feeling. And I remember the threshold of getting to 1,000 and then to 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 50,000. Then, you know, we'll do like a 60,000 day, $100,000 day, a $700,000 month, like every single milestone I remember. But this is what I also know. With every increase in sales and with every new rise with growth came an entirely new learning curve. Dude, going from just like, when I hired my first couple employees and just like giving them a check from my bank to like actually having a fucking HR company and like it's fucking it's insane how much you don't know. That's going back to the education thing. When you're in college, they don't teach you that. They focus on like Fortune 500 companies that are established with like 30,000 employees, and it's like, are you kidding me? What about this whole 0 to a million run? That's the hard part. The 0 to the million is the hard part. That's the fucking thing. And people don't get that. So, bro, I've made so many mistakes I cannot count. One thing I'll tell you guys is if your business is doing well because you have a couple high paying clients, you're fucked. You got to diversify, because if something bad happens with those, you don't know what to do. And to get those type of clients back isn't like an overnight thing. In addition to that, invest into people who are investing into the vision, who see the bigger picture, because you're not going to be able to pay people what you want them, what you want to in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like now, over the last year, we've had like benefits and shit like that. But dude, we didn't have any of that stuff. Like, we didn't have anything. So when selling is not just to the customer. You got to sell your team. You're going to sell the team that, hey, we're not just going to be working at my mom's house forever. We're not just going to be working at my house forever. We're eventually going to have an office. We're eventually going to have a cool office. You know what I mean? Like, you're selling the whole time. So
no, that's really great of you to share that. And the reason why I ask is because to get to those levels, you're right, there's mistakes. Like I said to you, I had a business that, I messed up, made mistakes. I kind of had all my eggs in one basket, and the rest is history. So I understand exactly what you're saying, Billy. And for me, it's phenomenal to see that rise in what I would call a short period of time, because you haven't come along and then gone like, look, I've done 6 months and put a Shopify website together, Facebook ads, I'm a 7-figure earner. The way I see, you've brought the kind of traditional model, but you've brought it up to date. Just the way that you mentioned the kind of memberships, and then the 2 tiers, and then the other things that you're doing. And for me, that's kind of the sign of, like I said to you earlier, it's kind of like the pivot for me was kind of recognizing, actually, there's something bigger than this. There's something bigger than me. I've just got to go and pursue it. And, I think pointing out as well the fact that, education, but more importantly, as a solopreneur, you've got to go sell. This is the same thing I also preach to my coaching clients, and I'm saying to them, your job is not to kind of think about, you're doing 7 figures. Your job is just to bank cash right now. And give yourself the creative space, because you're not thinking about, I need money. And
also too, what people don't realize is money buys you time.
Yeah.
And so people say, well, how do you keep up with everything? I fucking pay for it. I pay for time in all aspects of my life. Like, literally, from like little things like having people like clean your house, etc. All those things, like, you have, like, watch this. Once you get past $1 million, you have to have an assistant. It's just not like people think it's like a bougie thing to do. It's like, no, it's impossible. Like, you can't. And so every single time I realize that my time is getting caught up on stupid shit that doesn't help the company grow, I hire out. So like, one thing I'm not afraid to do is invest into other people to buy myself more time, because as a team, everybody has their role. The company makes the most money when Billie Jean is selling to the masses on stages, on webinars, in groups. That's when we all collectively make more money. Therefore, if Billie Jean is caught up dealing with minutia shit or drama, we're all fucking losing money. So it's just my role. My role is to be the mass salesman right now as a CEO and oversee operations.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's awesome. And, I think the more that you kind of emphasize that message and you put that message out to people, the more they get it. And, even me, it's kind of like you have to hear things so many times before it actually gets through the layers of the onion. And it's like, there's the light bulb.
Sometimes you just have to make the mistake, right? You can hear something 1,000,000 times. Sometimes it's like, I just got to mess up.
That's right. So, here's my question. Now, in that space of time to where you are right now, you kind of mentioned the vision with these kind of campuses, and for me, that's sick, because I also believe in like the education kind of thing. I've got 2 children. I've got a boy who's 10, a daughter who's 4, and so for me, it's kind of it's the same thing. Like you say, they're not taught that stuff at school. My son's reading Jim Rome right now. Yeah.
Nice.
And he's at the age before he gets to high school, but I've got him at the point kind of where I'm not concerned with the school books. I'm more concerned with who is he as an individual and a being. You know what I mean? So my question to you really is, like, beyond the vision of obviously what you're doing with the business, what's in store for you as Billie Jean, the entrepreneur?
Yeah, man. It's funny because this year I've really made a focus to meet several entrepreneurs who are doing 50 times better than me, right? They're like, it's uncomfortable for me because I'm like, wow, they're way too smart. They're going to say smart people shit, and I don't want to hang out with them anymore. But I made it a point to surround myself with them. And they all kind of ask the same questions of like, what's your next play as far as moving to an owner, non-operator, which is basically where you're collecting a check, you have several business, and that's kind of like the typical entrepreneurial progression.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not my vision right now. You know, for me, like, I enjoy being hands-on. People like don't realize, like, I like being live. I like doing interviews. Like, this makes me happy.
Yeah.
So, like, me, like, I don't approach this company like, oh, I'm in this to sell it, to get our monthly recurring revenue to X so I can sell it for this kind of multiple, blah, blah. Like, that's not me right now.
Yeah.
I'm confident enough with my business skills that, like, I know I'm not going to have to worry about money because I got fucking skills. I got chops. Like, I can make it happen, bro. Like, it doesn't matter for me. And so for me, it's about creating a movement that matters. And when, like, a win for me is when people say, oh shit, what should I do? Should I send my kid to Harvard to learn about marketing entrepreneurship, or should I fucking send them to the School of Genius? That's right. When you're so distributed,
I like that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's on some other shit. Like, so it's beyond money. It's about that impact, man. And I want them to not only be able to learn more from us, but do it in a way more affordable way.
Yeah.
So, like, right now, you take myself as like a minority. Most minorities, unfortunately, aren't in a position where they can invest into going to fucking Harvard and spending that 100 racks. So if you can pay $100 a month with Billie Jean and get the tools that you need, wow, what are we doing to the game?
Yeah,
you know?
Changing it, and you know, it's the kind of stuff that Gary speaks about as well. You know, just flipping things on the head, and it's like the old ways of thinking, just they're just not, you know, the thing now. And you see the changes in the marketplace, just in how things have progressed, and the fact that, you know, you have YouTube millionaires, you got Instagram millionaires, and, you know, something goes viral the next second, it's like, how did that happen? And it's, you know, it's just a different dynamic. Now, my question for you is, now, in terms of our listeners, Elevation Nation, let's say they're in that
name, by the way, Elevation Nation. I'm like,
we've got to raise everybody up, Billy.
I like that, man, a lot.
So everybody watching right now, they may be in that position where they're kind of either touching on kind of 6 figures, that solopreneur level, heading up to 7 figures. What would you say would be the key things that they need to pay attention to make it happen the way that you have?
Every single move that you make going from 0 to $1 million, it has to be, again, not to be redundant, but it's got to be hyper focused on sales. And a lot of the times you're the best salesman in your company. And so what you're going to have to do is, I would make a list of, literally itemize your time. Where is it going? And you got to figure out, like, for me, for example, I am the overall creator of our strategy for our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube strategy.
Okay.
But I haven't actually been in and built an ad in like fucking years. Like, I don't. And that's one thing owners struggle with, is they can't not to do the thing because they're afraid that, like, someone's not going to do it as good. And I have a newsflash for you. They're not going to. I literally, over the last few years, have had to watch an ungodly amount of money go down the drain to make somebody else better. Like, are you kidding me? You know, like, right now, I bet you anything. I bet you some fucking time today, my sales guys are going to lose a bunch of fucking sales that I can go in there right now, pick up, and I'm going to fucking close that every single time.
Yeah.
But I have to let them get better if we really want to grow. So I gotta let that money go, right? Like, so there's a lot of things. And then what happens, though, if you invest right, then they can do things better than you. So, like, right now, if you tell me to go make a Facebook ad versus, like, one of my account managers, they're going to be fucking 10 times faster than me. Mine's still going to be the best, though. I'm going to fuck this shit up. But they're going to be 10 times faster.
I love the confidence, Billy.
Yeah. Because I'm in the trenches. This is what I do. Like, every week, like, I'm reviewing ad campaigns. Like, this is what I do, is I teach, I practice. Like, I'm in there, I experiment. Like, it's my world, you know?
So just so we can dig in then a bit deeper into the teaching, what kind of things do your community experience inside the School of Genius?
Yeah. So the focus is customer acquisition. So literally taking a stranger in space who's never heard of your brand at all to actually buying. So there's multiple steps in that, right? There's how to get attention, how to write persuasively. And now that we're in the age of video, now video is a huge component of what we teach. Like, what camera should you use, the lighting, et cetera, like everything that has to do with that progression of the customer's, you know, intent to buy. In addition to that, like the design of the landing pages, what are the new tools coming out? Is it messenger ads? Is it chat boxes? Is it, selling shit online with a Shopify store versus using ClickFunnels and upsells and downsells, literally the entire process. But here's where everybody misses. People are so caught up on the idea of printing money. Like, oh, I don't ever want to talk to anybody. I just want to put a landing page up and I just want to wake up. Shut the fuck up. The people who win are the people who are not afraid to pick up the phone.
Yeah, I agree.
Even thing with everything changing, the people who can pick up the phone are the people who freaking win. Period. And so a lot of it, what we've been teaching in School of Genius is sales training. I just did an entire course called Sell Like a Genius dedicated to marketers, because marketers are the worst offenders. Marketers are so caught up on marketing that they think they never have to sell. And so they never learn to sell, and then they're done. So that course has been fascinating for me to see the response from marketers, and also for me having a sales background, seeing how correlated they are in regards to messaging, knowing that a marketer who doesn't know how to sell can only be so good of a marketer.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Superstars are both.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great advice. And, you know, one of the key things that took my business forward has been sales. And then I've also been guilty where I've been in the trenches of marketing. And it's like you say, marketing isn't selling. You're not closing. You're not moving people to that next position of being prospect to client. And, you know, there's a lot of people I come across, and just like you, people I'm teaching, coaching and so on. And actually it's kind of like, I just want to print money. I want to put something together and leave it alone. I'm like, are you for real? Like, commit to this. So my question, Billy, is it's I'm going to throw this one in there. In terms of your business and your day-to-day life, what's the one thing that you cannot live without?
In terms of my business and my day-to-day life, like all in one, like as my
yeah. You can split them up if you wish.
All right, let's see. What can I live without? I can't live without the ability to create. So like one thing that most people know about us in the digital marketing space, at least, is they remember us because of our videos. You know,
tell us about the videos, because we haven't even touched on those.
So, you know, I'll play a character like the Wolf of Paid Advertising, which is a spinoff of the Wolf of Wall Street and Leonardo DiCaprio, or dress up and do a James Bond video and all the way. Like,
I love the James Bond, by the way.
Thank you. When I was in college, and we had a group presentation, and we always had to do PowerPoints, I would always ask the teacher, can I do a video? Because I needed, like, I just didn't want to have the same boring presentation with everybody else. So my brain has always been like this. I've always been a kid who's like, can I do extra? Can I get creative with it? So if I didn't have the ability to do that, I would probably melt and die, right? Like that's my so like just today, for example, we're sitting in the office. I'm like, shit, we need to do a Black Friday deal. So now, right now, we just thought of this whole Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory thing where we're going to dress up as Oompa Loompas. And now that's the focus. So the ability to be creative and the fortune to be at a time where entertainment is welcomed and required feels good. Because there was a time where that would have been just probably like 20 years ago. I don't know if that would go over so well. But now being creative is being celebrated. So it's like my passion just happens to be trendy right now. And so that.
I think it's a real powerful thing, actually, because I was saying in the green room just before we started the interview, 2 weeks ago, I was in Orlando with Todd Brown at MFA. And we had a one-day planning session with him before the actual 3-day event. And what was really cool is that he said exactly what you've just touched on, which is, I mean, you're focusing on the kind of creativity and, like, you know, picking up on like movies or kind of just different themes. And he says the very same thing. It's kind of like when you're putting your message together, whether it's copywriting, via sales or whatever, you've just got to be different. And for me, that's the reason why you're on this show. And what I'm probably going to do is get my video guy, when we put this he's going to mix a few things in, because I need everybody to see this, like the Wolf of Wall Street, the James Bond.
We'll send you a couple of them.
I've
done Pirates of the Caribbean. We've done Spartan and Awards. And so here's the thing. People ask me, they say, well, Billy, does it really help conversions that much? And here's the truth. I can make sales doing a basic video like this right here, just talking. I can have a camera up, right? Doing both ways. But here's the difference is if I make sales without all of the production, etc., I'm easily forgotten. When I walk down the street in San Diego or anywhere in the country and I'm out and someone goes, the wolf, and they start beating their chest. You don't get that from regular ads, right? You don't get to dive into people's life that way. So the ability to be remembered and not forgotten, I think people don't put enough value on it because it's not like a metric that you can quantify. Like, what was your ROI? What was my ROI on pretending I was Leonardo DiCaprio? I don't fucking know. You know what I mean?
The ROI is right here, right now.
There you go. We're talking, right? There you go.
And for me, that's the real power that I see in your creative genius, in what you put out. And it's really cool to hear actually you saying that, you're in the heart of the creative direction of where the business goes and so on, because actually it shows. And I love the fact that, it is you driving it. And don't get me wrong, I understand your team's there, and, we wouldn't do these things without our team. And it's just credit to all of you is what I'm saying.
Thank
really
you, man.
Cool. So we're getting close to wrapping up. And what I want to do is just say at this point, now, I'm going to throw in the curveball. Now, you've met some really cool people, yeah? And especially in the marketing world. I know this. I've been following you, Billy.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. So let's say you're having a dinner party and you can bring 3 guests, whether they're living or deceased. Who would they be and why?
Okay, in fairness, and this is what everyone should know, is I know nothing about history. So like when I'll get into a room sometimes with like really intelligent people, and they spend most of the time quoting dead people. And my thing is, I don't know them because they're dead. I don't research history. I'm very present day, and so like I know I'm gonna offend people if I say my list, because like I didn't fucking know those dead people. They didn't affect my life the way they probably did.
That's cool, Billy. That's cool. You don't have to explain.
I just want to apologize because people get all uppity with it, but
it's good. It's good.
I would go like this. I'm a big fan of Shark Tank.
Good.
I've seen every single episode, including Dragon's Den. Here's a fun tip for your audience. Well, you guys know Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
Because it's over there. But like people like in America, we only know Shark Tank. Nobody realized that Shark Tank's a spinoff of Dragon's Den. That was huge in Canada, #1 show in Canada, and giant in the UK too.
Yeah.
It was both. And so they came over there, and Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank and Robert Herjavec, they came from the Canadian version. So when they were here, I was like super hyped. Like, this is huge. So all of the sharks, because I fell in love with them throughout the years, I would definitely need to connect with them.
Okay.
And then the other people, man, I've been pretty active in regards to meeting, like over the last couple of years. But like, I think I've learned the most from like Frank Kern in regards to the direct response side of things. I got the most, like I have to tip my hat to Russell Brunson, what he's doing because of the movement he's putting behind the software, which you just knocking the numbers don't lie in that. I love Gary and what he's doing on the personal brand side. I think he's crushing the game there. Nobody's touching him with a 10-foot pole right now. Not for long. And so like I would say between those 3 and the Sharks, like
awesome.
Those are the people. And then watch this though. I want everyone to recognize too is my list isn't super huge because the industry's young. Entrepreneurship is just now becoming cool. So everybody listening right now, you could be the guy/girl because there's just not a lot of competition. In music, right now, everybody wants to be a musician and It's competitive as it's ever be, and it probably as it ever will be. But entrepreneurship, we're just getting hot. We're just getting hot. So you can take over whatever you want to take over.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Billy. I appreciate the explanations as well. Some great guys. I'm yet to spend time with Mr. Frank Kern, but again, he's mixed with some of the people that I've actually been taught by. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's probably going to be one of mine. I'm going to have to put on the dinner list. So as we're getting close to wrapping up, then Billy, if our audience, Elevation Nation, want to find out more about you, they want to find out about the School of Genius. Where can they go?
I'll just hit you guys with the free stuff. Just go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/BillyGeniusMarketing, and make sure you like and get notifications for when we go live. We go Facebook Live a lot in our office. We just hang out. I'm teaching stuff all the time. It's free. Get notifications when we go live, and then subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And then I promise you, as you watch some of our videos, you will buy shit from me. You just will. So let me just start them easy before I go for a pitch this here. Y'all just go somewhere. You're going to buy something. Yeah.
Now I know why you had Grant at your studio.
Yeah. So, and watch this. So there's Grant's another guy. I respect his game because he's like me. We're like, fuck it, we'll sell right now. We don't need like, like here's Gary, jab, jab, right hook. Here's me and Grant, hook, uppercut. I don't care, right? Like, absolutely. So, but at the same time, I'm more marketer than, so, we all got our own mixes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, we're wrapping up right about now. And I just want to say, Billy, it has been an absolute pleasure. And I really enjoyed the conversation with you. I'm sure, and I'm sure people are going to get a lot out of this interview. And for me, everybody watching and listening right now, if you're listening to the podcast, remember to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. And we will continue to elevate you and bring you more great guests like Mr. Billy Jean today. And finally, just to wrap up, I just want to say, It has been an honor. And if you're going to pick anything out of this, guys, is just look at what has been laid out before you. Make sure you listen to this one back. He's explained the steps that you've got to take. Yeah. A focus on the sale.
Can I drop one more?
Go for it.
Drop one more. This is important. You guys have to focus, number one, like, because again, at the end of the day, you're probably listening to this podcast because you want to make more money, right? You want more choices. So let me address that specifically.
Mm-hmm.
The key to making money is to having skills. Skills, meaning the ability to do something that others cannot or will not.
Mm-hmm.
To do that usually takes a lot of practice, a lot of education, a lot of sacrifice. The reason why doctors can save lives is because they went to school for 13 years, did an internship for another 3, a fellowship for another X, and stood beside another doctor practicing for many times. Yeah. Only in entrepreneurship do you get high on this shortcut. This idea of being able to skip all this stuff. You don't have to have a skill set. You don't have to have practice. So the second you dedicate yourself to your craft and becoming the best at what you do is the second that you will start moving mountains in your business.
Billy, that is a wrap. Thank you. It has been an honor.
Thank you, brother. Peace. Elevation.
Nice one. Nice one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, podcast. That was fun. It was different than the one yesterday. If you guys saw me do one, it was different than the one yesterday, but nonetheless, both good. It's just fun rocking out with people. So was that helpful? Anybody watching as we just kind of filmed today? It's like, hey, why not go live at the same time? And yeah, hopefully it was. Hopefully it was. Hopefully you learned something. Because you know I'm going to sell something right now. Actually, I don't even have anything to sell right now. Do I have anything to sell right now? Oh, never mind. I got to go. I have to go right now? You'll call at 12:30 right now. Oh, never mind. I got to call at 12:30. Okay. Later, guys.